Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for Living Local, your lifestyle show for everything Charleston and beyond. I'm Ashley Meservey. It's Test Drive Tuesday, y'all.
Test Drive Tuesday, sponsored by Stokes Volkswagen.
Special day for us here on Living Local. One of your faves, Chief Meteorologist Rob Fowler. Thanks for having us, and thanks for getting in the car with me, because I know that this is probably a little scary for you.
Well, I've seen these on Living Local, and I thought it was kind of cool, and thank you for asking me to kind of ride along and talk about my experiences here in Charleston over these almost 31 years.
Wow, 31. All right, where are we going first?
Well, I think one of my favorite places is Sullivan's Island. We go to church out there at Stella Maris every Sunday, so I just think it's Sullivan's and Isle of Palms. We just live in such a paradise, and those are two great places to go and just relax, especially Sullivan's, where we spend a lot of time.
All right, we're here in Sullivan's Island. I love it here. It's still kept that quaint feeling.
And you can see the tourists just come out and they just love it. And I think the one thing about Charleston and Sullivan's Island, Isle of Palms, whenever you talk to anybody from other places, most of the time they've been here to visit, and they never have a bad word to say about anything. It's always like, oh my gosh, we love Charleston. We want to visit Charleston. It's our favorite place. So to live in this city that everybody adores, I think is pretty cool.
I mean, growing up here, I think I took it for granted until I got this job, how beautiful this place is.
I think we all do. You know, we come down here every Sunday to go to church, but other than that, we don't spend a lot of, as much time as we used to down here, except when we have people visit and you want to come show off your city, and you've got to show off the beaches.
And they always have stuff going on. Look at all that.
Yeah, that's over by Sullivan's Island, the park here, and looks like they've got a little get-together. One of our favorite restaurants of all time. Looks like Somerville Green Wave is here.
Whoop, whoop.
There you go.
I'm about to break the car.
We got two buses. Maybe you should stop and say hello.
Yeah, I definitely think, unless they got some new buses, I was on that bus many a time.
But right here, Sullivan's over on the left is one of our favorite restaurants.
I've never eaten there.
It is wonderful, and it's just a place that when we had company, we would always bring. Never had a bad meal, and now we do brunch there.
All right, so now we're heading to your church.
Yes. Right across from Fort Moultrie. Stella Maris is an old Catholic church, and we started at Christ Our King in Mount Pleasant because everybody always told us, oh, you don't want to go to Stella Maris, you'll never get a seat, because it's a smaller church. And that was true. You don't get a seat if you arrive at 9:35 when the Mass starts at 9:30. So we just learned along the way that if you just get there a little early, you're going to get a seat. Beautiful church, Ashley, and again, it's somewhere we enjoy going every Sunday, but also just because it's such a beautiful church. Great experience.
Talk about some of your most profound moments, though, during your career over the 30 years.
Well, obviously, as you already mentioned, Hurricane Hugo. For me, professionally, it was probably, you know, the event that kind of launched my career, if you will, in Charleston, that because it was a timeline, because it was part of our history and always will be, and being here at that time, and at that time there were only 3 TV stations, there wasn't the internet, there wasn't...
You didn't have the 24-hour news cycle.
Right, so basically people got the information from us and the radio stations and the newspaper, and we were in a situation where some of our competitors were not on the air through the storm, and we were, and at that time I was the only meteorologist on staff, and so that meant long hours. I think we counted about 69 hours I went with no sleep, and I'm not saying I'm a martyr. It was just what we had to do, and I was younger then. I don't think I could do that now. There have been many a times, and Tate knows this, that you know, I've not come home until 3 in the morning just to make sure that everything was all clear, but that's what we do, and we have to take it seriously, and it's part of the job.
Tate, were you there with cookies and, you know, thank you, Dad, for
he was sleeping.
Thank you for being so awesome.
Yes, he was sleeping. There's a funny story, and this is Tate's older brother, Trey. I have about 4 or 5 weather radios in the house, and there was one night I was at work, and a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings were happening, and so the alarms were going off. And fast forward to the next severe weather event, and I was at home at that time, I think on a weekend, and watching the weather, and I'm like, wait, the weather alert should have gone off. The weather radios didn't go off. I wonder what's going on. Well, when I did some investigation, I realized they had gotten so tired of that one night, them all going off, they took the batteries out and unplugged them. So I think as a family, they were a little annoyed by the weather warnings going off, and I had to do a little recon to find out why.
What is the craziest thing someone's come up to you and said about like the weather?
You know, probably the comment we get most often is, I wish I had a job where I could be right half the time and still get paid. So we get that quite
People
often.
have actually said that to you?
Oh, absolutely. And you know, you take it with a grain of salt because you understand that's the nature of the beast. But you know, forecasting weather it's a second by second, moment by moment thing. Here we are on the day we're doing the test drive, and we've had water spouts off the coast. There are thunderstorms, and you know, these pop up and then they do their thing and they move on. So it's a great business to be in. I find it fascinating every single day. I'm still learning. It's almost like going into a classroom every day, because every day there's something different. But the technology has come a long way, Ashley, in the years that I've been doing weather. So the accuracy, believe it or not, I see it every day, is amazing. I think it's awesome that you can look out 7 or 10 days and have an idea what's going to happen. And by the time it gets there, really, when you look back and you peel the layers back, it was pretty right on.
Do you ever like go in there, and I always think of you and your weather center, like you're going and you're looking at all these models and stuff like that, and how it has to still be a significant responsibility on your part, because you know, you deal with, I mean, obviously me and every other person in this community, but you think about the elderly, you think about animals and stuff like that, that's such a huge, it's not a burden, but responsibility.
It's a responsibility, and I think we have a responsibility to be as accurate as we possibly can, but also present the information as clear and concise as we can as well. I've always been of the opinion, you know, people just want the facts. You give me the information, I'll make that decision. I can't really tell them what to do, or, you know, strongly, you know, yell at them and say, you've got to do this. But certainly I think by the way that we present the information, they can get from our voice and from our face and from our information that it's something they either need to take seriously, or we're going to be okay and we're going to weather this just fine.
For more information on this week's Test Drive Tuesday, drive on over to StokesVW.com.